Now, in-depth coverage of campaign 2016, and right now we have breaking news right into our newsroom. We have just learned Hillary Clinton will be here in Rhode Island campaigning on Saturday ahead of Tuesday's primary. Meanwhile, voters in New York are heading to the polls today to make their picks in the presidential primary. And WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi has been tracking every twist and turn in this race. He joins us now with the latest. Ted, let's start with the Democratic race. Bernie Sanders from Brooklyn, New York, but Hillary Clinton, she was the state senator. Who has the advantage in this one?
I'd say Clinton is heavily favored to win in New York today. She's led in all the polls, and as you say, she has a base of support there from her years representing the state in the Senate. Now, if Clinton does win, and especially if she wins big, it's going to be a blow to Bernie Sanders. Clinton already has a sizable lead over Sanders in the delegate count, and there are a lot of delegates at stake in New York today. It also fits a pattern we're seeing where Sanders is struggling in states with large states, that hold primaries and have diverse populations, but he's still vowing to soldier on for next week's primary in Rhode Island and 4 other states, and I think that's part of why Clinton has announced she's going to come here and campaign too.
All right, Republican side, now the front runner, also a New Yorker, Donald Trump. Could this be a really big day for him?
Absolutely. I mean, the question isn't whether Donald Trump wins tonight in New York, it's how much he'll win by. And the key number for everyone to keep in mind is 50%. If Trump tops 50% of the votes statewide and in most of the congressional districts in New York, he can really clean up in terms of delegates under the rules in that state. And that's why his 2 rivals, Ted Cruz and John Kasich, are fighting not so much to win, but to keep Trump under that 50%. Because at this point, they need to stop Trump from winning a majority of delegates before the summer convention. They think if he goes into the convention without a majority, one of them will be able to wrestle the nomination away from him. But if Trump wins tonight in a landslide in New York, that will be much harder for them.
All right, Ted, thanks so much. And Ted will be back on details on what the New York results mean for next week's Rhode Island primary coming up on Eyewitness News at 6:30 over on Fox Providence. And you can always get the latest on campaign 2016 on our website, WPRI.com. And stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of campaign 2016. We'll bring you the results of today's New York presidential primary tonight on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11. And you can also head over to our website, WPRI.com, anytime for the latest information and the race for the White House.
And our in-depth coverage of campaign 2016 continues now. I'm joined in studio by WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi, closely following the races. So we're talking about New York today. New Yorkers going to the polls. And really what we're looking at is Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders on the Democratic side. Can Bernie Sanders beat her in New York? And on the Republican side, not so much will Trump win, but by how much?
That's exactly right, Shannon. If we start with the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, both ties to New York. She was their senator. He grew up there. But Hillary Clinton's heavily favored to win. She's led in all the polls so far. And so if she does win, and especially if she wins big, it'll be a tough night for Bernie Sanders and his campaign. He's been having trouble in these bigger, more diverse states. And losing in New York would put the nomination further out of reach for him. Then, as you said, on the Republican side, it's just how big is Donald Trump's win? And the number to watch is 50%. If he gets above that, he will get a lot of delegates, and that's bad news for Ted Cruz and John Kasich because they want to block him from getting majority and fight it out at the convention. But if he does well in New York, that could get harder.
Now, of course, we're watching this very closely because Rhode Island, 1 week from today, our primary, as well as Connecticut and a number of other states. So what do you think the numbers, the results today kind of say or foreshadow for
I think there's a couple Rhode Island reasons to watch New York tonight. First of all, on the Democratic side, if Bernie Sanders does better than expected, let alone if he wins, that will be a great sign for him in Rhode Island. Remember that Rhode Island's the only one of the 5 states voting next Tuesday where independents can vote in either the Republican or Democratic primary, and Sanders usually does well with independents. Then on the Republican side, New York, of course, another northeastern state. So if Donald Trump does really well there, it'll only add to the sense that he's poised to do very well in Rhode Island. And on the other hand, if Ted Cruz or John Kasich surprise, that will also be a sign that maybe they could get some momentum going into Rhode Island.
So the numbers in New York, a lot of implications here.
Absolutely.
All right, WPRI.com reporter Ted Nesi, thank you so much. And for more on campaign 2016, just head to our website, WPRI.com.